The first thing David heard that morning was a knock on the door that didn't sound friendly. Not the normal tap-tap of a neighbor. This one was hard. Urgent. Like someone was tired of waiting. David sat up on the narrow bed in his tiny London room, his heart already beating faster. The room was barely big enough for the bed and a small table. His suitcase was still open on the floor, even though he had arrived 3 months ago. Another knock. David. Open the door. It was his landlord. David quickly checked the time on his phone. 6:12 a.m. He hadn't even brushed his teeth. Coming, he shouted, jumping out of bed. He opened the door slowly. The landlord stood there with folded arms. Tall, bald, and already dressed for the day. You said you'd pay the rent yesterday. David swallowed. I know. I just need 2 more days. The landlord sighed heavily. You said that last week too. David felt the familiar tightness in his chest. That uncomfortable mix of embarrassment and fear. Back in Nigeria, nobody warned him it would be like this. When David left Lagos, everyone treated him like he had already made it. Ah, London boy, his friends would shout. His aunt even organized a small farewell gathering. Once you reach there, your life will change, she said proudly. Just work small and pounds will start entering your account. David believed it. He imagined tall buildings, quick jobs, and money he could send home every month. But 3 months later, the only thing entering his account was transport charges leaving it. I will pay, David said quietly. The landlord stared at him for a moment. Then he shook his head. 2 days. And he walked away. David closed the door slowly and leaned against it. 2 days. He looked around the room. The paint was peeling. The window barely closed properly. And the heater worked only when it felt generous. Yet the rent was £500 a month. He laughed quietly. London. David picked up his phone and checked his emails again. Nothing. No job replies. No interview invitations. Just the same automated message. Thank you for your application. He had applied to over 70 jobs. Warehouse jobs. Cleaning jobs. Kitchen assistant jobs. Even a job washing dishes. But every place wanted experience. Or documents. Or references he didn't have. Sometimes he wondered if the problem was his name. David walked to the window and looked outside. Gray sky. Cold wind. People already rushing to work. 3 months ago, the same view had looked exciting. Now it looked expensive. His phone suddenly buzzed. A WhatsApp message. From his mother. He hesitated before opening it. Then he tapped it. My son, how are you? Your uncle said abroad is good. Are you enjoying it? David smiled sadly. Enjoying it. He sat on the edge of the bed and typed slowly. Yes, Mama, everything is fine. He stared at the message for a moment before sending it. Because how could he explain the truth? How could he explain that sometimes he skipped meals just to save money? Or that he walked long distances because bus fares were too high? Or that some nights he couldn't sleep because he was calculating rent in his head? No, he couldn't tell her that. So he stood up, put on his jacket, and stepped outside into the cold morning. Today, he had another interview. At a restaurant. Kitchen porter. Not his dream job. But at this point, any job was a dream job. The bus stop was 10 minutes away. Cold wind slapped his face as he walked. A woman standing beside him looked at his thin jacket. You must be freezing, she said. David laughed. I'm from Nigeria. This weather is trying to kill me. She laughed too. Well, welcome to London. The bus arrived. Inside, people were quiet. Everyone staring at their phones. Nobody talking. David watched the city, through the window. He noticed something strange about London. Everyone looked busy. But nobody looked happy. 30 minutes later, he reached the restaurant. His heart was beating again. This interview mattered. A lot. He walked inside. The manager, a middle-aged man with tired eyes, looked at him. You're here for the kitchen porter job? Yes, sir. The manager studied him for a moment. Have you done kitchen work before? David hesitated. Then he told the truth. No, sir, but I learn fast. The manager sighed. We get many applicants. David nodded. He expected that. Then the manager leaned forward slightly. But you came early. That's good. David felt a small spark of hope. Can you start tomorrow? For a moment, David thought he heard wrong. Tomorrow?
Yes.
Early shift. 6 a.m. David almost laughed. Yes, sir. Yes, I can. The manager nodded.
Good.
Be on time. David stepped outside the restaurant 10 minutes later. The same cold wind blew across his face. But suddenly, it didn't feel as harsh. He checked his phone again. He opened his mother's message. And this time, when he typed, his smile was real. Mama, today something good happened. For the first time since leaving Nigeria, London didn't feel like a mistake. It felt like the beginning of a very long story. And David was finally on the first page.